Hi.
Everyone. Oh.
Twinsies.
Twinsies. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Dear Beauty. I'm Jen.
I'm Alexis.
And this is round 2 because we just had lunch and we feel a lot better.
So what happened was,
There's a lot going on this morning.
There was, but, like, we're so ambitious. Like, we come in here, like, guns blazing in the morning, and we're like, let's do a podcast. But then also, like, we're hungry and sad and tired.
Seriously.
So, like, we got through, like, half of this, and then we were like, fuck it. Start over later.
We can do better. Yeah. So, anyways, it is really hot. There's, like, a heat wave going on across California right now.
Have you been getting any of the, like, notices to, like, turn your power the fuck off?
Yeah, and I'm getting them from PG&E, which I'm like, dude, isn't it like South California Edison down here?
It is, but are you still the contact on?
I am.
Well, then that's why you're getting it.
Are you getting it from SE?
Yes, because I don't have a PG&E account.
Okay. Yeah, they're like, turn off your electricity, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh.
So I was like looking at.
And then there's fires.
I know. The world's ending. I was looking it up this morning because I was like, what the fuck is happening? So apparently we have not had like an electrical emergency like this in like the last 10 years.
Well, like a couple years ago, I remember there was like massive shutoffs of electricity like throughout Northern California.
But they were,
and I guess, are they preparing for it?
So it sounds like there's like multiple stages of like emergency. So there's a stage 1 emergency, stage 2, and stage 3. What we've been going through right now is a stage 3, and that hasn't happened in recent history. So it's probably a stage 2.
Yeah, well, like, plus everyone's at home. They can't go out, and so everyone's using their AC. It's also really hot this summer.
It's like, it's not even that it's hot, because it was pretty mild for most of the summer. It's only like 85 degrees, but it's so humid.
Yeah, well, we live in OC, and I think we have like it's pretty cool still. In San Jose, it's like trapped in there, and so just going, and I'm going back to San Jose this weekend. I'm not looking forward to it because I know it's really, really hot. Gross. And I'm so used to the breeze out here.
God, why would anyone live anywhere other than the beach? Sorry,
Why would you choose to live anywhere else?
Like, could I have said something more like privileged? Could I have like flexed my privilege any harder?
You're like, I was born into this. I didn't ask for it.
Listen. Like, I was just like, I was born at the beach, and so like my body is like adapted to that, and like I just like can't. I can't live anywhere else because like it's too hot, you know. But for realsies though, like what I noticed about like Southern California folks, like we're such pansies. We have like a 6-degree range.
We can't survive anywhere else.
It's like 72 to 78 is acceptable, and anything outside that range is either too cold or too hot. It'll be like 71 degrees, and I see girls in like
I'm busting out my sweaters already at 71 degrees.
Exactly. So if it's hot, it's too hot. If it's cold, it's too cold.
Like, for someone who grew up in Minnesota and experienced snow, I hate it, and I don't want to go back.
I wish that I had experienced snow.
Yeah,
again, like I've always lived in Southern California by the beach, and so I've never had a white Christmas. And my family wasn't rich enough to go to Mammoth for Christmas, so.
You're not privileged, see?
I know, I am disadvantaged. JK, I'm not.
Well, today's topic is also talking about the privilege.
Yes.
And we're talking about privilege and beauty because
today's
topic is discrimination in beauty.
Yes.
So just first thoughts right off the bat, like I feel very ignorant for not realizing that this is a bigger issue than it is. So when I go shopping for whether it's hair products or skincare products, like I've always been in that range where I can easily find a foundation for my skin tone. My hair is just frizzy, but other than that, like there's so many different products that cater to my type of hair. And so I've never experienced that issue.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad that we're talking about it today because I'm just learning so much from the little research that I've done.
Yeah. You did some research. Yeah, it is like a really widespread and like entrenched problem. And it goes even deeper than like trying to find your foundation shade. It goes to like you can walk into, you and I both can walk into any hair salon and any stylist that we get matched with is going to know how to cut our hair. Yeah. You know, so like it comes down to like even the basics of beauty is geared towards people who are, I mean, so when we're talking about like discrimination in beauty, there's a couple of different like facets of it. In particular with cosmetics, I'm going to be talking about anybody who lands on like the quote unquote deep range, as well as like super, super pale folk. And then, you know, when you talk about like hair and beauty services, then you get more specifically towards Black and African Americans, because people don't, beauty schools don't teach you how to do that. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, let's talk about cosmetics since we're just here. There was, for most of modern history, is that the word? I don't know. Most of modern times.
Okay,
in the last 100 years.
Wait, the 21st century
is the century we are currently in. 21st is.
But when did it start?
2000? No.
Oh.
2000 is the 21st.
So technically we were born in the 20th century?
Yeah.
Oh, because every 100 years. Oh. I just realized something, you guys, that century is, first of all, 100 years. So the 20th century is the 1900s, and now we're in the 21st century. Get it? All right, I'm going to let you continue.
Wish you could see my face, guys.
I wish you could see my face and how stupid I feel. You guys, I wasn't born in America.
Shut up. You can't keep using that excuse.
Like, I feel like I literally missed so many grades in elementary school that I don't know division and I don't know what a century is.
Well, to be fair, none of us know how to divide, like doing like large number dividing. No, but that's what calculators are for.
Yes, and I know this is off topic, but I had to get a tutor for my sister because I just can't do 4th grade math.
Well, especially not now with Common Core. Like, I'm terrified.
There's bubbles and lines.
Like, I don't.
I'm like, why just do straight division.
I know. Why do they need to know why the answer of 2 + 2 is 4? Like, just memorize it.
Hey, guess what? 3rd graders, you're gonna use a fucking calculator anyways.
You know what?
And you're not gonna use cursive.
I was just gonna say, like, why the fuck are we still teaching cursive? When was the last time you wrote a damn thing in cursive?
When's the last time you had to sit down and write?
When I had to write all of my wedding thank you cards.
Oh.
Thanks, COVID. Gave me time to actually do that.
Great. I'm sure it's in someone's kitchen right now.
Probably not. Probably tossed it. Throughout the 20th and 21st century, as makeup started to become not taboo. So, like, for most of history, wearing makeup was like reserved for really, really rich people and also prostitutes. So like regular ass people just like didn't wear makeup. So it was like the 1900s that people started wearing like makeup on the DL, but it was actually like the 20s where women started wearing makeup openly, and it was very much like a counterculture thing. So like flappers wore like makeup, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, around that time, we started getting some of the brands that are still popular today, like Estee Lauder, L'Oreal, and Maybelline.
Yeah.
They pretty much only catered to white women. So
surprise.
Wow. And as, time has gone on and we as a society have like done away with like segregation. I'm not saying that we're not as racist, because I think we as a society are totally as racist as we were 100 years ago. We just hide it better.
Yeah.
So you would think that brands would add darker shades along the way, right?
Yeah. And be more like inclusive, because now there's a whole demographic of women who are able to purchase and want to purchase cosmetics.
Yes. But they don't. So people have been like, hey, Estee Lauder, Maybelline, and they're doing okay now. They've kind of hopped on the train. But like,
yeah,
hey, makeup companies, why don't you make darker shades? And they're like, they just don't sell well, so it's not like worth it for us.
Which is so surprising.
It's not just surprising. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Do you want to know why it's fucking bullshit, Jennifer?
Tell me why it's bullshit that they're not able to have more skin colors.
They're out here saying people just don't buy it. That's why we don't make it, because it doesn't sell. No. Black women spend 80% more on cosmetics and twice as much on skincare as white women do. 80% more. Nearly double.
80% more. What the fuck?
Yes. So in total, Black women spend about $233 million a year in cosmetics. So like 11% of the total cosmetic, and I know those are like numbers and percents are kind of abstract concepts, but like a good chunk of the entire cosmetic category is attributed to Black women. However, they make up less than 15% of the total U.S. population.
Yeah.
But they spend more than 10%.
That's so interesting. And so why is it that they spend more? Did your research show you why?
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons. So one, if you don't have as many like shade options available, for instance, you may need to buy multiple shades of a foundation and mix.
I see.
That in combination with as far as like skincare goes, a lot of Black women have very dry skin, so they're purchasing whole body like skincare, and the maintenance that goes along with natural hair is also more than with like straight hair like yours or mine. So there are like things that they spend more on because they need more of it, but there's other things like foundation where that kind of extra spending is actually being forced a little bit because they're not able to just like pick their foundation off of the shelf. They've got to mix the darkest shade and like the second darkest shade to actually get their shade.
So they have to basically put in more work, spend more money because there aren't products readily available for them. Now they have to go that extra mile in order to like take care of themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's not just Black women, like Hispanic women also statistically spend more. Actually, basically everyone except white women spends more on cosmetics and beauty than white women do.
Huh.
Like,
yeah,
Asian women spend more. Yeah.
Asian women
spend more
on skincare.
Hispanic women spend more, and Black women spend more. Yeah. But then there's like us whiteys out here with like the world to choose from, and we're like, nah, I don't want it. It's just like privilege on privilege on privilege. So anyway, so it's clearly not that women with darker skin don't buy cosmetics. That's not the reason that these mainstream brands aren't selling as many dark toned products. It's because historically, Black women and Hispanic women and East Asian women haven't had as many options, so they've found other places to put their money. That
like Asian people go back to Korea, or like use K beauty or J beauty. Yeah,
so I mean, even that is its own issue because the shades only go to like the equivalent of like a light medium.
Yeah.
Not even, bro. I've seen some intensely pale shades from K-beauty. But yeah, so like Black women, Hispanic women, Asian women, they are finding other places to get products that cater to them. So another reason that another excuse, I guess, that companies use for not providing more shades is that formulation costs are higher for darker shades.
And can you explain like why it would be higher? Because like in my mind, like I would just imagine that if you're making darker shades, you're buying just different pigments, but those pigments essentially would cost the same, right?
Yes, that is, so it's a yes and no. Technically, it could cost a little bit more. But I'm talking about like a minute difference. And the reason that it costs more has to do with bulk discounting. Yeah. So you and I know the basic concept here is the more you buy, the less it costs per like unit, you know? So if you have spent 60 years making products for women in the light to medium category, you're probably buying a lot of the materials to make those light to medium shades.
Yeah.
If you are now adding the materials for a different shade, it is going to cost more because you're not producing it in the same volume that you are with these other shades. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So like, yeah, so they're just, because they think it doesn't sell, they don't buy as much of it, it costs more, their cost goes up.
And it's like, have they not done surveys? And I can't speak for these larger brands because I don't really know the way that their operations is, but you would imagine like as a brand that controls so much money, and not even talking about the profit margins they're already making off of products, that like how much more difficult would it be to cater to this demographic where you're putting in a little bit more research to make sure that there's like the right tone? Like it just doesn't seem like there wants to be any effort put towards this.
And they don't want to put effort towards it. Like this is really an issue of a decades old disposition against catering to women with darker skin, because the ideal customer, quote unquote, is, you know, lighter skin. And we see this in advertising a lot as well. When you have, you know, a billboard for a new foundation launch, like how often are you showcasing that new foundation on a darker skinned woman?
And
it's just our like societal perception of beauty is still linked to paler skin, and not even like pale skin, because people like me on the far end of the like fairness spectrum are also left out. Really, it's that light to medium. And that's our societal perception of beauty. So beauty brands who are trying to like help you attain that standard of beauty, like it doesn't make sense in their mind, I think. I'm just like talking out of my ass here to do darker foundation colors when that's not their ideal of beauty.
And I like, if we had gone into, you know, a Sephora Ulta a couple years ago, I don't think that there were many options. Like you said, like there's a very limited number of tones for concealers, for foundations, for like even hair products, right? And I think the last year or so I've been seeing more variety. It's still not enough, but I think a lot of these brands are being called out now. And also like props to these indie brands that have seen this opportunity in the market to cater to a certain demographic and be supportive of that demographic, and now like they're so successful.
You know, and it really, like, from my observation, it really was the indie brands that kind of started the snowball of change. So you can really trace like the current trend, I guess, towards inclusivity. It's stupid that that's like a trend, but it is. You can trace it to the launch of Fenty by Rihanna. That product line launched with 40 shades of foundation in 2017. It's not like... So it's not like there weren't other companies who were doing that before Fenty.
But I think like Rihanna and like the brand itself really made like a stance on it.
It did, but really like my interpretation of it is that like the brands that were doing fully inclusive shades up to that point were studio and pro brands.
Mm-hmm.
So things like MAC and Makeup Forever. So
Yeah.
they were designed and marketed towards people who were, doing makeup professionally, not just your average girl. Fenty was a mainstream product. It wasn't designed for pro users. It was designed for your average girl, and it actually covered 40 different shades. So that was groundbreaking in and of itself. Actually, when I tried it, I am always the lightest shade, or maybe the second lightest shade. My shade color is always snow, swan, cloud,
clown white.
All right, let me tell you a story.
Do you want to tell them this?
I want to tell this story. So I have a degree in theater, which I had to take a makeup class, and I took the makeup class at my first university, not my second. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't at my second, because one of their projects was, I know, I don't think I've told you this one. One of their projects was to change your race using makeup.
Interesting. Did anyone go super far with that?
Oh, yeah. Well, they had to.
Interesting.
That was so, these makeup books are, from the 70s and 80s, makeup theory books. And they have stuff in there because it's for stage. And, apparently at some point people didn't think that it was necessary for Asian people to play Asian people on stage. Apparently that wasn't an issue. So it had whole chapters on different facial characteristics of different races. Anyway. So when you're in these makeup classes, these stage makeup classes, you get a kit from Ben Nye. You're familiar?
Yes, I'm familiar with Ben Nye.
Yes.
Pageant days.
Yep. So it comes with 6 foundation shades. You get it in fair, light, medium, deep, whatever. And comes with a highlight shade. And then you get a basic dark contour shade and what's called clown white.
Yeah.
So you have to mix your perfect foundation color, and a big chunk of my foundation color was actually the highlight shade. And so my skin was too pale to use the highlight shade as a highlight shade. So I had to use clown white as my highlight shade.
That is it's pure white, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Straight up white, and that was my highlight color. So anyway, that just gives you an idea of how pale my skin is. And when I tried Fenty, I was the 4th shade in, and that
which shows you that there's 4 other even lighter shades than yourself.
I know, and the fact that most makeup brands, even though I'm the lightest shade, half the time it's still a little too dark for me.
Yeah.
So it's what, all these super alabaster skin gals, what are you all doing?
Yeah. That's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. So Fenty was one of the big ones. Pretty closely following the Fenty launch, there was a little bit of a fail that I think we should talk about in terms of how Fenty changed the game. So Tarte, I love Tarte. They make phenomenal products.
I haven't used Tarte in so long. I don't like the branding. I used to be a huge fan of the Shape Tape. This is when every YouTuber was using it.
Oh yeah.
And I think over the years I just kind of nothing really interested me about it.
Okay.
So
their products are great. I don't do I also used to be super into the Shape Tape, but I don't wear a full face of makeup most days now. Yeah,
so the Shape Tape is way too heavy for a regular day.
But the Shape Tape concealer had 30 different shades and was pretty much anyone could find a concealer shade from Shape Tape. So when Tarte announced that they were going to do a Shape Tape foundation with 30 shades, everyone was like, yay, wonderful. So they released their swatches and they did something funky. They had 2 formulations. So they have the Shape Tape Matte and Shape Tape Hydrating.
Okay.
And instead of doing 30 colors in each formulation, they did 15 colors for one formulation and 15 colors for another formulation. Except that 12
Do you think
of
it was like a budget thing that they ended up fucking up on?
Hold on, you're getting ahead of me.
Okay.
So, like, 12 of the 15 shades were, like, fair to light medium. Okay. And then there were 3 shades covering everything from, like, medium to deep. Just didn't make... The shades all looked exactly the same. And then you got this huge jump, and everyone was... people were pissed about it.
Was there Shape Tape that same, like, color scheme? Because then I would imagine, like, dude, just follow what you did successfully for the Shape Tape.
I know. You would think, right?
Yeah. Who made these decisions?
So, this is pretty quick after Fenty came out, and now everyone knew that, like, a brand could launch 40 shades of a foundation and still be profitable. There's no excuse anymore. Yeah. Especially with something like the Shape Tape, where it already had a full color range and was already like a cult
there's
favorite.
No reason now not to do that when you've already done it. So you're well aware of the formula.
Tarte was pretty quickly called out for their lack of inclusivity in shade range, and their response was, "Oh, well, we have darker shades in formulation, but we were just so excited to launch this product. We wanted to get it out as quick as possible, so we didn't launch the full shade range."
And what were people's reaction to that?
Fucking bullshit.
Like, that doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah. So they were saying that it took longer to formulate the darker tones than it did the lighter ones, which is why the darker ones had to wait.
Okay, because they don't have the right people in place to do that then.
Right. So then they also tried to play it as, well, we released the lighter shades sooner because it was, like, I think winter when they were released, and they said
people's
that
skin tone
your
doesn't
skin
fucking change.
They said that people's skin is lighter in winter, so it makes sense to launch the lighter tones first.
That is so, oh my gosh. Like, okay, from a business perspective, I get... Like, from a business perspective, first of all, like, I would either hold off on the launch or not even, or maybe just launch part of it first to make it look more inclusive, because now, like, you have this entire Fenty line that is basically the standard.
Yes.
Like, someone on their team had to have known that.
Yes. So either, like, don't launch, one of the formulations, or just wait. I think everybody would rather wait a little bit and have the full shade range available.
So I feel like what they had done, and it shows that they didn't think about that to begin with.
Right. And that's, like, apart from this...
Or they could have just been honest right off the bat, like, hey, this is the launch, but you know what? These brands have done a great job at showing us what the next standard is, and we're working right away to make sure that there's more inclusivity.
Yeah, they kind of did that, but it just it was after that they had made the excuse of, like, oh, it's in the works.
Yeah.
So there's a perceived lack of demand, and that's why they don't prioritize getting these full shade ranges out.
Or, like, what if some of these brands don't want that demographic representing them, so then they kind of purposely exclude them? Like, like, also with shades of darker skin tones too, like you were telling me, that there's many different underlying pigments as well. It's not just it's not like straight shot.
Right. Just like lighter skin, darker skin also can be warm, cool, or neutral toned. Usually with lighter shades, you'll see, like, indications of the tone through, like, the shade name. So, for instance, like, alabaster is usually, like, a cool toned fair color. Light honey is usually a more warm toned beige. So with darker shades, a lot of the time what happens is they'll release, like, 3 darker shades and 12 light shades. And those 3 darker shades are, like, all warm toned or all cool toned, and they, like, there's 15 shades in between them, but because whoever's formulating can't really, like, see the shade differences, they don't I don't know what the deal is. I'm assuming things, I don't know, but there's not just a lack of, like, product available to women with darker skin. There's a lack of understanding of how like color theory when it comes to darker skin. And so it's a lot. But another thing on that, I'll wrap up my little bit here with commenting on have you ever noticed that darker shades are always named after food?
No. Well, again, okay, I'm only looking at my shade, and so I don't, anything out of like me, I don't even recognize, which is very selfish of me.
So like for my shade, it's like I said, it's usually cloud, swan, snow.
Mine are
like,
numbers.
Because you only shop with the pro brands.
Yeah, and I honestly hate picking out foundation because like there's like I didn't really understand what my undertone was, and of course like I'm not saying there isn't enough selection for me, but I think this is the privileged side where there's too many selections and I have no idea what matches my skin tone exactly. So I was actually very lucky last time when I went to Sephora to have met this gentleman who was able to spend time with me to really understand my skin tone and had suggested me the Makeup Forever Reboot, which I love that formula.
Yeah. You're an olive undertone skin, right?
I have no idea. I want to say I'm yellow undertone, right?
You look
or
more
no, I
olive
change
to
with
me.
the seasons.
No, okay. You can look
maybe.
at your wrist.
I know I'm not cool undertone.
No, you are not.
My veins are blue.
If anyone wants to like determine their undertone, the best way to do it is look at your wrist and look at the color that your veins are. So for me, mine are like bright freaking blue, and you can see straight through. I have pinky, like cool tone skin. Yours are green.
Mine's like blue purple.
You might be a neutral undertone. So generally your veins will appear green if you have yellow based skin. If it's cool, it'll be blue, and if it's neutral, it'll be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Thank you. Good to know.
So that's how you can
I
tell.
remember hearing that, but like every time I go, like it's just I hate picking out foundation colors.
Also fluorescent lights make it difficult.
Yeah, and I also hate looking for concealers because like you want a concealer that's the same skin tone, or you want it a little bit lighter, and I'm just like,
you want it the same. Let's talk color theory here. If you put a lighter shade on top of something dark like under eye circles, is not going to do anything. It's just going to look like you put something lighter on top of under eye circles. So go for your shade, because that will help cancel out some of the darkness instead of just highlighting the darkness.
Speaking of concealer, y'all, so I thought I would go splurge on some Charlotte Tilbury under eye concealer because it looked cute and all this shit. That shit is like straight up the dupe for it is that I think it's like the Maybelline the cushion concealer.
Oh yeah, the Age Rewind.
That is a little like,
love that
don't
stuff.
spend money on anything else, you guys. The cushion one from Maybelline, is it?
Maybelline Age Rewind, yes,
is amazing. I haven't touched my Charlotte Tilbury one. Also, like I bought like the wrong color, I think.
Oh no!
But I'm too lazy to go return it.
Yeah, concealer is one of those things that like there are so many good drugstore ones.
There are great drugstore ones.
Mascara too. Never spend $20-$30 on a mascara. It only lasts for 3 months anyway. You shouldn't keep your mascara longer than that, or you're gonna get freaking pink eye.
Yeah, like I have my makeup collection right now. First of all, I'm not using that much products. It is literally M Cosmetics, Glossier, and drugstore products. So right now, like for in the mornings, I'm putting on my sunblock. I use the Age Rewind cushion concealer. And then I am loving M Cosmetics' new line of like color blush tint serums, like the color drops. They're so smooth, and I liked her approach to it where it's like it's supposed to be skincare. She likes her makeup to be skincare. And so when you're dropping this on, it's so moisturizing. It blends in well. I'm not really a huge fan. Now that I've tried this formula, I'm not really a huge fan of Glossier's.
Really? I feel like I'm kind of over the Glossier one. I need to try that one because the Glossier one, I'm finding it hard to blend.
I have the Venetian Rose one. I'll bring it for you tomorrow because I think that was a color that you were interested in.
That's the color I want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm loving that so far. Yeah.
I'm done with my section. You can go now.
Okay. All right. So my section today is on hair products. So hair care, particularly for natural curly hair. So right now there's this thing that's called the natural hair tax. So women, particularly Black women, because they have natural hair.
Can you define natural hair for me?
Natural hair is like tight curls.
Is it just curly hair in general, or is it curly hair that's like coiled?
A combination of both.
Okay.
So when they're going out to hair salons, either hair salon stylists will turn them down because they don't know how to take care of natural hair and they don't want to risk damaging it. They're not trained to either. Also, with the natural hair tax, Black women or anyone with natural hair coming in, they're charged more because supposedly it's taking more time, more products, and more effort to tame it.
Okay. And I mean, that already doesn't make sense to me because, like, I have fucking thick hair. Like, this is intense. I have never gotten out of the salon in under 3 hours. But I know that I do not get an extra fee tacked on for having thick hair.
So across the board, it seems like stylists, after going to cosmetology school, they're not being trained to handle natural hair. They aren't experienced with it. And if you want to learn more about how to work with natural hair, you have to pay more for training. So a lot of these stylists who went to cosmetology school, they were taught how to do hair for European descent, straight hair, or, short hair, long hair, whatever, like typically what we see on most people.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it why aren't they teaching how to
It's just not taught.
Curly hair?
It's just not taught. Schools don't care about it. And so it goes back to like these institutions don't care about natural hair or Black women. So they're not training their students to take care of that.
Gotcha.
So some hairdressers were saying that they were basically trained to hate natural hair because they weren't taught it. And all they were hearing was that natural hair is really difficult to manage. Don't even bother with it. So now Black women are very hesitant to go to nail salons because, one, if they do go, they either...
hair salons?
Hair salons, sorry. I keep saying nail salons.
I think you just really want a manicure. I think you miss manicures.
Dude, I need a pedicure. But most Black women don't even go to hair salons anymore to have their hair done because, one, the experience is awful. They feel discriminated against. They're charged more, or they leave feeling even worse. Hairstylists, I mean, their job is to make you feel beautiful. Their job is to take care of your hair, no matter what kind of hair you have, right? But if they're not trained to take care of it properly, then you'll most likely not even go. So a lot of Black women either go and support Black-owned hair salons, or they do it themselves at home through, techniques that are passed down through generations. I
mean, that's like so interesting and counterintuitive because we have this societal expectation that hair should be like, it should look European. So, like it's been coming up in the news a lot lately. Not just Black women, but Black men also are being discriminated against in the workplace for their hairstyles. So I don't know if you're familiar with protective hairstyling.
Yes.
That's like the braids and doing wigs and things like that because natural hair is so like brittle.
Yeah.
So they're being told not to, like, that's unprofessional. But then you also can't go to a salon to get your hair like straightened and all that to make you look European because hairstylists won't touch your hair. It's like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. And, Black women have been colonized to hate the way that their hair is, their skin tone color, their lips, their nose. So from the article that I was reading, that some Black women haven't been comfortable up to this point to style their natural hair. So they're hiding it. But, in the recent years, like you'll see, like I have friends that I competed with in pageants that before they had, they weren't proud of their natural hair. They didn't show it on stage and they would wear, their beautiful wigs. But recently one of the gals, she is showing off her beautiful natural hair. And she looks like, I want to say she looks so much happier and looks so much better. And you're also seeing that more particularly in pageants and on stage. So there's definitely this movement towards, showing off your natural hair and being like fucking proud of it.
Dude, like I have a confession to make. I know that natural hair is like a bitch to take care of. I know. But I am so jealous. I wish that my hair had that beautiful like curl and volume.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'd love to have beautiful curly hair like that.
Like so I have naturally curly hair, and it's really thick and it's coarse. So for the longest time, I did everything I could to suppress it. So I straightened my hair, I colored my hair, I permed my hair, and up until like I think college, my hair had become so brittle and damaged. But like every day I would keep straightening more because I'm not happy with it. And
we've all been down that straightening road.
Yeah, and I used to have like really beautiful natural curly hair. So now it's curly again, but like I have no idea how to take care of it, like how to keep it so it's curly all day.
Dude, go on TikTok. TikTok has some insane tutorials for like curly hair maintenance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I have curly hair deep down? Like all these girls who are like, I didn't know I had curly hair until I tried this and my hair was curly. I'm like,
yeah.
Is that what? No.
Yeah. I think we've been so exposed to all these ways that we can change the way we look about ourselves that sometimes we forget at the core of it. And I think like as we get older, we learn not to give a fuck and really appreciate what we have, because it also saves money, you guys. I saved so much money not going to the hair salon to like dye my hair.
I know.
So anyways, I want to talk about hair relaxers real quick.
Yeah.
So, going back to, Black women being colonized, being told that they aren't beautiful with their natural hair or the way that they look, hair relaxers started to get commercially marketed to Black women in the late 1970s and 1980s. So after, segregation supposedly ended, now people wanted to take advantage of this insecurity that Black women have and market to them hair relaxers. But the hair relaxers, their popularity began to decline about a decade ago. So that's when women were like, fuck this shit. I want to show off my natural hair.
They're super damaging, aren't they?
Absolutely. And then imagine like doing hair relaxers like every 6 months.
If I recall correctly, it like breaks the bond in your hair and then like reforms it into a straight bond, right?
Yes.
So you're like melting your hair.
Yeah, literally. And also like there's a lot of health effects that come with relaxing your hair. There's a lot of chemicals in these products. So if you're at the hair salon or if you're doing this at home, like you're breathing those fumes in constantly. And then now that fume, it sits on your hair. So you're literally sleeping in it.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was like a long-term thing. I thought it was just like the 4 hours that you have it on.
Yeah. And so now there's in the last decade there's been this growing trend among Black women to celebrate their Black culture, which includes the way that they look, their natural hair, and then also like in the workplace. Before it used to be an exception that you were able to wear your natural hair, but now women are taking a stance against it, and men as well. Like if I want to wear my natural hair, I can. It shouldn't be an exception. It just should be like part of me as my identity.
Yeah. And like protective styles and natural hair, like there is nothing unprofessional about it.
Yeah. So there's, when stylists, they take a couple of things into consideration for their prices. So the first is like cost of training. There's time, there's equipment, there's rental costs, and cost of products. So all of these go into what they charge you at the hair salon. And stylists were saying that, these things are impacted when I'm doing natural hair. That's why I'm charging more. But in this one article that I read, they basically claimed that was bullshit. So similar to the whole skin foundation thing, you're not really like spending necessarily more time or more money on products. So their feedback to the cost of training is most cosmetology schools, they don't provide textured hair training as part of the curriculum. So instead of teaching students how to like take care of it and make it beautiful the way that it is, they're teaching students only how to relax it and how to blow it out, not necessarily how to work with it.
Which So if you're going to make the claim that, oh, I had to spend more on training to do this, so I'm going to charge you more, like, shouldn't you consider that, like, a cost of doing business? Because, like,
Absolutely.
if you are a stylist who knows how to style black hair, I mean, we just established that black women spend way fucking more than white women on beauty. So if you're like one of the few stylists who knows how to do black hair, wouldn't you get like way more clients and make up for that extra cost of training?
Yeah. And then like the next factor that stylists had talked about was time. So they're saying that there's more time spent on natural hair than normal. And this is kind of like one of those things where some people are like, okay, it's understandable. You're probably spending an hour more on natural hair. But then again, it's like I just feel like it's not fair in a way. I've also been charged more because my hair was too long or I had too much hair. But oftentimes these salons are charging a ridiculous amount higher than just having longer hair.
I mean, I know that there is usually a price difference between long hair versus like shoulder length hair. I've never been charged extra for having thick hair, but every time I go to the salon, like every time I get a new hairstylist, they make a comment about like, oh my God, your hair is so thick. And it takes forever. It takes 20 minutes to blow dry it at least. So I don't buy that it takes more time because I know how long it takes to do my hair.
Yeah, so in the article, it said that asking natural clients to pay extra is like asking them to do what you're already supposed to do, which is make their hair look good. There's really no extra steps involved, right? So just like with normal hair or like relaxed hair, you have to wash the hair. You just comb it out and you blow it out. You make it look good, right? So if they were taught that from the beginning, how to appreciate, how to handle it, I don't think they would be as intimidated to handle natural hair.
I think what I've heard from some other, some friends of mine who have textured hair is that another issue is that because they're not taught how to like style it, most non-black stylists don't know how to cut it either. So they'll cut it like they would cut, straight hair. And with super curly hair, like cutting curly hair in general requires so much more finesse and artistry because curls do their own thing. You know, like if it's all straight and it's hanging straight down, like where you cut is where the hair is going to go. But with curly hair, you may like cut here, but the curl ends up over here, you know? So cutting textured hair that has a lot of curl and coil to it is also incredibly artistic. And not every stylist can do it.
Yes, not every stylist can cut hair to begin with.
That's true. Okay. Or dye hair. We've all...
Yeah. So a lot of these women are finding that they'd rather just fucking do their hair at home, you know? Or have
How
like their
sad is
trusted
that?
friend or family do it because the chances of them going to a salon and having an awful experience is so much higher. And I'm seeing that a lot of more... female and black owned hair salons are popping up and not having this natural hair taxed. And they're incredibly popular. And so the question at the end of the day is like, how do you make it so natural hair is taught, how to handle natural hair is taught more? And is it really a skill and a craft? And is that something that everyone can provide?
Are you asking my opinion, or are you just throwing that out as a general
I'm just throwing it. I would love to
get
get your opinion as well.
I mean, just like not every stylist offers, Brazilian blowouts or perms, not every stylist has to offer textured hair treatment. But, it's wrong that a person with textured hair can't just walk into a salon and get served. That's the issue. It's like every stylist should have at least a cursory understanding of how to work with textured hair. And if they're not good at it, then they won't get clients with textured hair because they're not good at it. So you know, it comes down to like support the people who are making an effort, and like, you know, even being someone with like pin straight hair, like I can still choose to put my dollars towards salons that I know are also catering to women with textured hair.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question that Alexis and I are gonna both dive into is like, how do you, well, I think you already answered some of it, but like, how do you support diverse brands as a mainstream consumer? What is the second question? What if you're taken care of by the beauty industry?
Yes.
What if I don't get that question. What if you are taken care of by the beauty industry?
Can I explain?
Yes, please.
Oh my God. Hey, so as people who can find their foundation shade, you and I can both generally walk into a store and find a foundation shade. We can walk into any hair salon and get our hair cut.
Yeah.
How do we go out of our way to support diverse brands? You know, when we have so many options that are easier, cheaper, like how do we balance like taking care of our own needs with supporting financially businesses that are working to be inclusive?
I think it starts with like fucking talking about it. So like what you and I are doing, like bringing this discussion to the table for our friends, so that they can make well aware of it too. So I think the first thing is discussion, talking about it.
Fucking talk about it. Talk it out, man.
About that shit.
And vote with your money.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
businesses think they can't make money by being diverse. Well, let's really show them what not being diverse is costing.
Yeah.
And it's costing absolutely. White people's business.
Our money
That's the goal.
Our money has a lot of power. You know, the beauty industry is there because we buy from it and we can choose what we want to support. You know, there are so many great brands out there, and like, sucks to suck if your brand isn't inclusive, right? There are other great brands that maybe you can check out instead and support them so that the money that they have coming in can help them continue pursuing their cause of inclusivity.
What is your favorite makeup brand that has good shade selection?
I want to say just Makeup Forever because I'm using their formulas right now and I enjoy them. So, and they have a great ton of shades. They've always had great tons of shades. I feel like they're also making it a lot more accessible to like the normal person, not just the makeup artist. Especially with their reboot formula. I'm telling you, you'll love it.
Yeah, that one's good. That's good. It's good stuff. I like Becca Cosmetics has expanded their shade range pretty significantly recently. And another one that I really enjoy, actually the Fit Me line from Maybelline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, drugstore brands, I feel like have tons of great shades, right? Maybelline.
They do. It's just a matter of whether or not they stock them. That's its own issue.
Interesting.
But buyers don't always it goes back to the we don't make money off of this. Buyers who are purchasing for drugstores don't always see the value in buying the darker shades.
Yeah. And it just goes back to the top. Like,
yes. So Target usually stocks the full shade range. CVS often stocks the full shade range, and Walgreens as well. So if you're looking for like drugstore, check out those places. I love Target. Target, honestly, like the Maybelline Fit Me line, it's like $2 cheaper at Target than it is at Ulta. So give that a shot for some inexpensive and good products.
Perfect. And, you know, we had just created an online forum called Embody Education. And it's a space for you to share products you love, ask questions about products that you're interested in. So we would love to see what you have to say about the different shades of foundations, and maybe share a brand that you're using that someone else can look into and use for their own skin color.
I love the plug. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm really
that's
good at plugging.
Me. That sounds gross. I didn't mean it that way.
I'm gonna go now.
Yeah, I'm ready to run errands.
Okay.
It's been a long
journey. All right,
journey
thanks guys
day.
for listening.
Bye guys.
Bye.